Welcome to Women. I'm Bonnie Gilgallen. This program will introduce you to some fun, fearless, and phenomenal females. These ladies have fought through tough times, conquered their fears, and seen their dreams come true. They're creative, accomplished, and inspiring. Their stories just might give you the boost and confidence you need to create the life you've always wanted. So come along with us and meet some amazing women. Perhaps the biggest animal advocate in the Coachella Valley, it was personal tragedy that led Lindy Beege to create Loving All Animals. Under her guidance, the organization works tirelessly to promote no-kill shelters, spaying, neutering, and the adoption of rescue animals. Known as the Bird Lady, Lindy's Palm Desert home is a tropical oasis featuring exotic birds. Her latest venture, Venus de Fido, is a spa for both humans and their four-legged friends. We're now joined by Lindy Beege, who is president, creator, founder of Loving All Animals, wonderful charitable animal organization. And you can see her magnetism with the animals. She's got Baby Love and Bugsy and Joshua on the back of the chair. So where were you born?
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri.
And you, as I understand it, animals were a part of your life from a very young age.
I was completely, totally raised on a farm, yes. Yes.
And tell me a little bit about your mother would rescue animals that couldn't go to auction. Tell me more about that.
Well, where we lived a good part of my youth was there was a slaughterhouse down the road, not very far, and next to the slaughterhouse was an auction place. And in the old days, all the farmers on the weekend would bring animals to auction. Well, real often, some of the animals they brought weren't very healthy, old, sick, injured. And so they couldn't actually stand up and go into the ring, so they never ever were auctioned off. And so what would happen is then they would the big truck would come in, take all those animals, whether it was a chicken or a horse or a pig, no matter what it was, and they'd take it to the slaughterhouse. Well, my mom had a better idea. She came up to him and she says, I'll pay you $5 for anything that lives, and I'll pick them all up and take them to, and my maiden name was Fleming, and it was called Fleming's Funny Farm.
Really? Did your mother name it that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I mean, we had it was 2,300 acres, and we had every imaginable life form, except for exotic birds, that we even had a bison. Mom she was not really a vet, but she probably saved more animal lives than most vets do in their career.
So you married, you had children, you raised your family, and now, so were animals not a part of your life at all at that point?
I've always had animals, but there was a period of time where they were certainly not high on my priority. I ended up being a single mother of two, and I was single for 7 years. I mean, that period of time was kind of just surviving and taking care of the kids.
Right.
And then I ended up falling in love with a guy that had 5 children. So that kind of kept me busy for a while, and then life got easier, and I got out of control.
How many total animals would you say are here?
Which day?
Pick an average, on average.
Okay, on average, there's probably 50 exotic birds, and there's always between 3 and 12 dogs. And sometimes there's cats here, there, and everywhere.
Now, I have to ask you a little bit about your granddaughter, because that was part of what led to Loving All Animals, right?
Yes. September 24th, 2007, my just turned 17-year-old granddaughter went to school on a Monday morning and never came back. She lived with me. She came to live with me when she was 15. And she was in a car accident right after school. Got out of school at 3:20, was dead at 3:40.
So sad.
And that, like I say, I have a charmed life, but it was all evened up there. That was the lowest of low of low. And that's when I kind of decided I really better either go drown myself in the pond or get up and get going, because I was so depressed. And that's when Loving All Animals was started.
So you decided to challenge your grief and your energy into that.
And it's so true that if you start thinking about other people's problems, yours kind of siphon away.
What are all of the things that Loving All Animals does?
And I think the easiest way to describe what Loving All Animals is we will do absolutely anything that will get us closer to the point where there is no need to euthanize, and it's really, euthanize is a bad, I mean, it's not a, it's a dumb word because we kill animals, and we kill animals as a form of population control. And so what Loving All, we do spay and neuter, we do trap, neuter, and return for cats. We have a huge adoption event once a year where we have 30 different shelters come together with over 500 animals for adoption. We have a limo that was donated to us, and we take that limo to the we take people in the limo and take them to the shelters. Thanks, sweetie. Thanks, sweetie bug. So we do anything that works towards being a no-kill Coachella Valley, and that's who we are.
And you also have therapy dogs.
We have therapy dogs. In fact, this one is a certified dog, and there's one missing that's not here because he's out working his job.
Yes.
So it's people helping animals and animals helping people. It's a two-way street.
Right.
And naturally, these were all dogs that were lined up to die. This one, everybody could see she has no eyes.
Poor thing. Yeah.
See, I have absolutely no eyeballs. But she isn't focused on that. She's focused on all the love around her. So she doesn't see, but she sees everything.
Do you have a philosophy of life, something that gets you through tough times?
Yeah, the reason we do this is to see animals like this alive and happy, and it's even better when you see kids grinning from ear to ear and saying a name when they don't really ever talk, and they can know the dog's name or the bird's name, but they can't say hello, but they can say a name of an animal.
Yeah, yeah.
To see people adopt these animals and send us email after email and picture after picture of how this animal changed their life.
Right.
That's what keeps you going, because it takes, if people knew better, they'd do better, and the more we can spread the word about what the animals need. You know, our world has so many problems with no solutions.
Yeah.
Or the solutions are so controversial that it's terrible. With killing of animals, it's not controversial. She can't see you, silly. She can't, get up there.
What have you learned from your animals, from all of this wonderful experience that you had?
Love, unconditional, always there, love, and no matter what is happening this minute, something wonderful is going to happen the next minute.
Yeah. What are you proudest of?
My kids and my friends. It's kind of a standard answer, but I think it's just universal. And when I say my family, I include my animals. I'm proud. I'm proud that when I'm off this planet, that I think I will have made it a little bit better. So.
Well, you do such wonderful work, Lindy.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stay tuned. Profiles of more great gals ahead.
Wouldn't it be great if employees everywhere acted like they owned the company? Real caring, terrific customer service, and the ability to solve problems on the spot. Welcome to Renova Solar, a SunPower Elite dealer and now an employee-owned company.
The only
solar and battery storage company
in the Coachella Valley,
where employees
are also owners.
Renova Energy Corporation, local, brighter, better. And now with employee partners.
I'm bored. Doesn't she know about Venus de Fido?
Yeah, they have an incredible indoor playground just for us.
And they have an amazing spa just for them.
Plus, we can be groomed at the same time they're being pampered.
I'd rather have fun and VIP daycare at Venus de Fido instead of this.
Ladies go to Venus de Fido, and they don't even have a dog.
Yeah, everyone goes to Venus de Fido. Venus is genius.
Venus de Fido, the spa.
Gasoline, $32. Transported, over 120,000. Meaningful connections, priceless. Your donations, volunteer time, and purchases at our resale boutique have helped Soldiers Organized Services provide a ride home to tens of thousands of active duty Marines and their family members since 2007. To donate or volunteer and be a part of this important mission, visit sosride.org.
Think about everything that you save. You save gas, you save money, you save time. But have you ever thought about saving life? That's right, life. In just 1 hour, you could save up to 3 lives, giving 3 people more time with the ones they love. And isn't that the best thing to save? The need for blood is as universal as it is constant. Save life, give blood.
Owner and principal yoga instructor at Evolve Yoga Studio in La Quinta, Bronwyn Eisen is also a weekly columnist, inspirational speaker, TV personality, and MC. She inspires her students to know they're fully capable of achieving their ultimate goals. So we're here with Bronwyn Eisen, and first of all, are you a California native? Where were you born?
Well, I guess you could say that. I was born in Sacramento.
Okay. And what brought you to the desert?
My mother brought me here when I was 10 years old.
Okay. And what made her come here?
You know, she's in real estate,
Okay.
and so she was looking to expand her real estate career, and this is where she decided to come.
Okay. Now you own a yoga studio and teach yoga. Now was that what you always did, or what you always wanted to do as a young girl, or how did you evolve into this?
No,
Okay.
I had a completely different plan.
Okay.
I attended Arizona State University, and I have a broadcast journalism degree.
Okay.
So I was on my way to anchoring and reporting, of which I ended up doing,
Yeah.
and had a great time doing it. And then I had a foot injury.
Oh, yeah.
So I like to say that yoga found me rather than I found yoga. And I ended up in a yoga class after physical therapy, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of started to take on its own life. I practiced for many, many years before I started actually teaching.
Yeah.
And then I moved here to the desert after living in Arizona for quite some time. And I knew how to do two things when I moved here. I knew how to teach yoga, and I knew broadcasting. So when I did move back here to the Valley about 7 years ago, I was simultaneously working both careers. And then the yoga just ended up taking precedence over the broadcasting, and Evolve happened. Yeah.
If you had to describe what specifically it is about yoga that you love so much, what would you say?
Really, more so than anything, I was going through a very stressful time in my life when I really started to pick up my yoga practice, and I really found it was the only place that I could catch my breath.
Yeah.
I had a lot of anxiety, and I felt so stressed at times that yoga was my outlet.
Right.
So for people who are stressed, oh my gosh, which is pretty much 100% of the population. Yoga is a really, really good stress reliever. And I was able to find my breath. And the breathing techniques in yoga also helped facilitate me working through, I had an upper respiratory disease. I had something that's called valley fever.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I was sick for about 1.5 years
Ooh.
with this disease, which can be very, very serious. And I would definitely attribute my yogic breathing because I was exercising my lungs with this style of breathing, which is called Ujjayi breathing, and I was able to, really strengthen my lungs.
It's a physical exercise. It helps tone you and keep you in shape, but it's also emotional and spiritual and so many other things.
Well, I
along
think
with
too
that.
that's why they really refer to mind, body, spirit, or mind, body, soul. You're really able to connect with yourself. So a lot of times I really like to start my classes by having people sit for a few moments, and we sit and we breathe, and I really try to guide them to a place where they need to be in the present moment, because none of us ever take the time to be in the present moment. I mean, very, very,
Very
rarely,
few, yeah.
unless we're truly focusing on it. So we're thinking about other things. What did I do before I came to yoga? What do I have to do after yoga? It's midweek. Like today, we ended up talking about, okay, don't worry about what happened on Monday and Tuesday. Don't worry about what's going to happen
What's
on Thursday
happening
and Friday.
now?
Be
Yeah.
here now. Take the next 75 minutes. It's a very small portion of your time
Yeah.
out of your life to sit and just, and really focus on you and being in that present moment. I had someone leave class the other day, and he goes, I really paid attention to what you said. He goes, I've never felt better in my whole life. And it was his first class, and I was like,
Wow.
I love that testimony. And
Yeah.
it just lets me know that what I'm doing is good and it's right, and I'm allowing other people to express their feelings and not feel shameful or anything like that about when they leave class.
I would think that for someone who was really uptight, like myself, that sometimes do you have people in class who kind of really get emotional? Because if you're breathing correctly for the first time, you can just get really emotional because if you're carrying stuff.
Yes, and the areas where we hold the most tension are shoulders, neck, and into the hip area. And the hip area, as most of my students will hear me say, I refer to it as a junk drawer. Okay, because we store a lot of emotion.
A junk drawer.
A junk drawer.
Okay.
And we've all got junk drawers, right? And we never want to address what's in the junk drawer. Just like we never want to address what's going on in our personal lives. We push it to the side, dust it under the rug. I'll deal with that later. I don't want to, even focus on that. So in yoga, if we do a lot of hip opening, in fact, it's probably my #1 requested thing to do in the body. Hip opening. Hip opening. So we will get into the hips, and I usually say, okay, I'm going to let you know we're getting into our junk drawer. You are going to probably feel an emotional release. And I've had people who have been with me for quite some time who even at the last position of the class, which is called Shavasana, where we just lay there. Your eyes are closed, you're supposed to make like a human starfish, and some people will still just stare up at the ceiling, and I'm going, oh please, I'm waiting for the moment to close your eyes, please. And some people completely shut down and they're out. Some people will fall asleep. So it's really about what's going on with them personally, I think a lot of times, or some people don't feel safe closing their eyes. They're in an environment where we are very safe and nurturing here.
What are you proudest of?
Oh, probably my daughters. I think most people probably always say that is, they're a true blessing. I wouldn't know what to do without them. It's, being a single mother has its challenges for sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bonnie. Wonderful. Thanks.
Stay with us for more amazing women.
I would like to suggest fitness classes which will be beneficial to your health and well-being.
You're right. It's time we do something.
I know the perfect place for both of us.
Venus de Fido offers fitness classes for both people and their dogs, certified personal trainers, private and group training, plus Fido and You classes that both you and your dog can take together.
I'm feeling better already.
I told you, Venus is genius.
Venus de Fido, the spa.
In a home fire, can your family safely escape in 2 minutes?
I heard my oldest son holler for mommy, and all I could see was smoke. The boys, we never really worked with them, I guess, on telling them what to do if there's a fire. We lost our child. We lost everything.
Make sure you can safely escape a fire. Practice your 2-minute drill. Test your smoke alarms monthly. Make your plan today.
Gasoline, $32. Transported, over 120,000. Meaningful connections, priceless. Your donations, volunteer time, and purchases at our resale boutique have helped Soldiers Organized Services provide a ride home to tens of thousands of active duty Marines and their family members since 2007. To donate or volunteer and be a part of this important mission, visit sosride.org.
Karen Barnes has the distinction of being one of the first ever female bank presidents in the country. Overcoming many obstacles in a male-oriented business, she completed Bank of America's training program in 1976 and climbed her way up the corporate ladder, becoming the third ever woman appointed to the board of directors for the Utah Bankers Association. We're here with Karen Barnes, who is president, should I say, founder of PW Partners.
That's correct.
And that organization is does consulting work for banks, basically? Was that what you would say?
It is. My husband and I founded this company, and we specialize in bank director services, board governance, credit training, risk management training, really
all the areas in banking right now that seem to have a focus and a need.
So where were you born?
I was born in San Francisco, and I'm actually a third generation San Franciscan.
Okay.
My grandparents were born there and my parents were born there. And I come from a line of also only children. My parents and my grandparents were only children. And so we were a very close-knit family because we didn't have a lot of the extended aunts and uncles and cousins that a lot of people do.
How do you think that affected your childhood growing up?
Oh, I think it was really positive, although it was different because a lot of my friends had several brothers and sisters. I have one, but it made us very close-knit. My grandparents lived right up the street from us in San Francisco.
Growing up in high school, college, what were your career aspirations at that point?
Well, first of all, high school I loved. It was probably one of my favorite childhood or growing up periods of time. I really wanted to be a stewardess. That's, back then what we called it, a flight attendant. I had my first experience when I was about 17 flying, and I was terrified.
So that changed that right there.
So it really kind of changed my whole direction on what I wanted to do, and got my first banking job when I was 18, when I graduated from high school. So that was my first exposure into banking, and it obviously just clicked. I actually got this job directly out of high school.
And what was it, do you think, about banking that clicked with you?
Yeah, I think I had a unique opportunity joining Bank of America. Back then they had a tremendous training program. I don't know what they do now. I haven't been affiliated with them for a long time, but they pretty much, you learned everything about banking within a branch environment, and I loved it. And I seemed to have been really good with numbers, got involved with, a little bit of planning and budgeting and that sort of thing, and it just seemed to click for me. And in addition to the people aspect, you are dealing with customers on a daily basis, so I loved it.
Were there many more men than women? Were you one of the few women at that time involved in banking?
Well, I think when I first started in banking, there is a lot of women in banking. At the executive level, there is not a lot of women in banking. And so as my career progressed, I was seeing this more and more. And when I eventually moved to Utah, it just seemed to be prevalent there. I think it wasn't just banking. I think industry-wide, there is just not as many women at the executive level or the president level of just about any industry.
What were the tools you used to sort of stay on that path and kind of get through that resistance?
I was pretty persistent. I was just not going to let that bother me. And then as time went on, I started to get recognized for being involved in the Utah Bankers Association, being chairs of committee, and being actually I was the third woman that was actually elected into the board of directors in 75 years. And so those kind of things got notice.
Sure.
And I was very proud of that. So as time went on, it got a little easier, but certainly persistence and not giving up, a lot of self-talks. Boy, there were days that I would get up and I'd say, what am I doing? Can I do this? I was just pretty determined.
In addition to self-talks, what were some of the other things that got you through those tough times, the days when you said, I just can't face this boardroom, these guys, I just can't do it? What gets you through that?
For me, the one thing that I loved was my team. I just loved working with my team and feeling like together we were going to accomplish a goal. I had great support from them, and I was involved in an acquisition when I became president. They named me president through this acquisition of this bank. I was proud that they felt like I could lead this group, because that's really scary for employees to go through a merger acquisition.
So they need someone at the helm that they feel comfortable with, can trust. And what would you say to, there have been people, usually men, who say, well, women are too sensitive, they're too emotional to be executives?
Yeah. I think you have to remember you've got to make some tough decisions. At the end of the day, it's a business. But being a good leader is actually making sure that your team understands that.
What are you proudest of in your life?
Well, I have to really say my daughters first. I'm very proud of my family. I think I've instilled in them a really good work ethic, and I think they have grown into wonderful women who have great careers, and I'm most proud that I've been able to have a career and be able to raise a family.
Right. And I remember you told me one of your daughters lives in Australia,
One of my daughters lives in Australia, and I have 2 grandchildren, and they live in Australia. And my daughter's pursued her career and is raising 2 young children.
That's terrific. Karen Barnes, thank you.
Thank
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Wouldn't it be great if employees everywhere acted like they owned the company? Real caring, terrific customer service, and the ability to solve problems on the spot. Welcome to Renova Solar, a SunPower Elite dealer and now an employee-owned company.
The only
solar and battery storage company
in the Coachella Valley, where employees
are also owners.
Renova Energy Corporation, local, brighter, better. And now with employee partners.
Think about everything that you save. You save gas, you save money, you save time. But have you ever thought about saving life? That's right, life. In just 1 hour, you could save up to 3 lives, giving 3 people more time with the ones they love. And isn't that the best thing to save? The need for blood is as universal as it is constant. Save life, give blood.
I'm going to get pampered at Venus de Fido. See you soon.
You know I can go too, right?
You're right. Let's go.
Discover the Valley's only salt cave for a completely natural cleansing experience that can also effectively treat all kinds of health conditions, all while your dog will be having as much fun as you.
You're glowing.
I feel amazing. Did you have fun?
The coolest time ever. Venus is genius.
Venus de Fido, the spa.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Women. We hope you've been inspired to take the next step to follow your own dreams. See you next time.